And good afternoon. Laddies, good afternoon.
Hello, Ian.
Hello, Ian.
Hello, Michael and Johnny Boy.
Hello, Michael.
Guys, it's nice to be back with you. It's been a while since we've done the Monday gig. A long time.
Been a long time.
Yeah.
At least, okay, how long has it been? 5, 6 weeks?
Yeah, August 8th, I think was about.
August 8th.
Gee,
It has
hold
been
on.
a minute.
Doing the math. Yep, that's 6 weeks.
It has been a minute. Guys, it is good to be with you. We're just going to get everyone kind of caught up here. Just seeing some people joining with us now. Lads, what's been going on?
Well, I gotta say this.
Tell us a little something about
I
what's
love
been going on.
I love the passion on a Monday. The amount of people that log into the TXG lives on a Monday afternoon. It's intense, and I'm into it. Like, let's talk golf on a Monday afternoon or morning.
Yeah. It's it definitely is something that needs to be back on the regular. We've missed it definitely. I think it was part of people's kind of routine and schedule for a while, and people were kind of a little concerned. Where did the Monday lives go? We missed our Monday debrief on the weekend's golf.
Myself included.
Yeah, myself included too. But that's the way the summer goes.
It-
We're here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah, and I, the nice thing with golf content these days is channels like yours, and you guys are putting up consistent stuff. It's kind of like the newspaper. Like, you check in Monday morning, you get your golf fix, while you're hiding in your office or your cubicle, and it's a necessary part of everybody's day. So here we are.
Here we are.
Happy to be a part.
Definitely. So we got some little bit of filming with you today. We're going to do some fun stuff around. Are we allowed to say?
Well, Mr. Rahm. So, if anybody watched the golf yesterday, John Rahm went absolutely bananas on the back, like bananas at Wentworth yesterday on the backside. So we
2
have
under in the front, kind of going along okay. 8 under for the tournament, still in neutral, and then he just went, I've had enough of this.
Yeah, I put on my Instagram, it's like, back in the Nintendo days when you go up, up, down, down, left, right, BA start, and all of a sudden you have 90 lives and your guy goes 50,000 miles. That's kind of what he did between 9 and 10.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you don't see it very often, and when you see it from somebody like Rahm, it just looks easy and scary and everything all at the same time. So we're going to do something in regards to that. We can't tell everybody what it is yet. But.
So we're going to try and, a little action there. So we'll do that. We've got some testing, Mike. We've got some irons for testing. Couple of different sets of irons for testing. Some interesting gear.
It's always interesting.
Yeah, I mean, this time of year, around the product launches from the big OEMs, we get some interesting stuff through the door. Some stuff that doesn't always make the cut, but we do have some stuff that is, fairly fascinating and. Different. You guys will see some stuff that we've never tested before this week.
I have a question. Since I'm not the WRX anymore. I'm work for Callaway, but the amount of irons and stuff that you guys do test. I mean, you guys have your own bag setup? Is there ever a time like a new iron will come out you weren't really thinking about, and you start hitting it in the videos and like,
totally
to get that? Like that's
those
where it would get
14s,
funky for me. Okay.
Those 14s. I mean, that's and I think you've just went through that with that TSR driver. I don't think you had any visions of really changing your driver. When you were at Oceanside, you really liked the TSR. It was very, very good for you. But it was when you tested it last week, Brava versus Autoflex, and you went, what? I can swing driver at 104 and have ball speed at 152 and fly at 270?
Yeah.
What's going on?
It's nice. It's a nice driver. We played a little golf Friday afternoon, and the driver ended up staying in the bag for the weekend.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was good.
Did you drive it good on the weekend?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah.
Are you Autoflex guy?
Right now? Yeah.
Yes, now.
I know.
I can't wrap my head around it.
We tested
No, I
Autoflex during like lockdown, and it wasn't great for me. I didn't love it, but I don't know, for some
Did
reason.
done nothing for you back then?
That with TSR, the flight's so much better.
Significantly longer.
Yeah.
So we have a guy on our, he's a live player now, but he's a Callaway staffer. Brendan Grace actually had that in a 4-wood.
Did he really?
Which
In a
just,
four-wood?
I couldn't, like, it was like 2 + 2 = cat. I just couldn't wrap my head around it. But he striped it. He hit it like this.
He's a funny one with shafts, though. I mean, I don't know what he's currently in, but I know he was in Vista Pro. 65X.
Still is. He's in the driver, and then he had the what's the speeder T, not TR. What's the blue one? I can't.
Oh, Speeder NX.
NX. He's in that in a 3 and
That's a
in
nice shaft.
his UWs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So he's an interesting shaft to study.
What's that? If Liv offered you 15,000, would you spend the Saturday fitting patrons in 30-minute increments?
My question is, how did you arrive at 15 grand?
Yeah, I'm just thinking.
15 grand a patron? Sure.
Is it Canadian or is it US? Because there's a difference.
I think spend the Saturday. So I would say that's probably a daily rate. That's a little higher than my daily rate right now. So yeah, I'd probably do it. Yeah, as long as I'm helping the people, I'd have no issues. Man of the people, you know.
Man of the people. I do it 15,000 per patron.
Per patron. See, Mikey.
15-minute fits.
Mikey's a little more expensive than me.
World renowned.
Shut up.
Do they get a build for that too, or is it just your expertise for
Just the
15 minutes?
expertise.
Wow.
But actually, you only get to hear his wine preferences for that.
Yeah.
That's a sit down. All right. Here's one here. Good to see the lads. J-Dub, any idea if Callaway will release a completely raw version of the new Jaws Raw wedges? They look great, but I'm hoping for fully raw rather than just the face.
So I get that question a lot. So anything that's launched to retail, especially with raw, it goes through the tour ringer first. So our tour players actually liked the raw face and the satin back. Will they ever go full raw? Probably not. Not this line. You got to remember there's production SKUs, and all of a sudden you're making a tour production SKU, and our players didn't. Our staff players didn't demand a fully raw wedge. They just wanted the raw face. And it's nice to be able to know that the same one you get at retail is the same one that you guys have in the truck. So to be honest, probably not. In this SKU, I'd be surprised if they did. And I don't see why they would, because it's just at that point, the back part of the wedge being raw is just for, curb appeal.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, true.
There's
Very,
no
very
performance
true. There's
benefit.
no function to that. I would say, once my SM9s get fully rusted, my SM8s are fully rusted. My SM9s have not fully rusted yet. My SM8s look great. My SM9s don't look that great right now.
My SM9s, they're like completely rusted. It looks so good.
Oh, they look good. Yeah, they look good. They do look good. So, yeah, I mean, everyone has their different preferences, don't they?
Well, we had questions about we were not going to offer a fully chrome wedge, and we had guys like Danny Willett and Brendan Grace, for example, that are fully chrome wedge players, and we got them into the Jaws Raw and asked them if they would have a problem with a raw face. And once they started hitting shots, they're like, no, it's like they loved it.
It's great.
Yeah. So.
It's a great. Cooper, can TXG order in Volky wedge works? He likes the T grind and low bounds K.
Yeah, we can. T grind for sure. Low bounce K.
I think we can as well.
Yeah, we can.
Email
Orders at txg.ca.
orders at txg.ca. Cooper, we'll get that ordered for you. Get you a timeline on those. No problem at all. Done. Done and done.
Those the K grind and the T grind and the Vokey is for every OEM on tour is the bane of their wedge program's existence, because those two wedges sneak into so many bags.
Yeah.
That T grind's so good.
Yeah.
Thoughts? Someone's asking thoughts on BGT wedge shafts. Did that video go out?
No.
No.
Okay, so that's going to be tomorrow. BGT wedge shafts tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Coming
tomorrow.
soon.
BGT wedge shafts tomorrow.
I've seen a couple of people somebody just did, like, was it Mark Crossfield or somebody did a video on BGT or something? Is that really thick one with the
Looks like a stability, yeah, in a
yeah,
wedge.
but it's really whippy in the stable all the way down to get down to the tip and it gets whippy from there. Is that kinda how that
No,
works?
it's not particularly whippy. It's just lower torque.
Yeah.
Because of the nature of the non-tapered graphite section, very high modulus graphite. So it's I think the 115 gram version is 500 CPM.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Wow.
almost double what an X-Flex driver shaft would be.
Right.
So super stout. So yeah, it's just a little bit less torque and a little bit actually probably less kick. You should hit them today. They're very interesting.
Yeah, they look interesting. I've always felt like when it comes to wedge shafts, because people ask that question to me a lot, and I always refer S400 constantly, but I feel like being able to stabilize the face with your wedges is probably the most important thing, as opposed to making them really whippy and high torque, where the club head's moving around a lot for higher handicappers.
Not
Anyway.
what we need for sure.
Yeah.
Dave was saying, I guess consensus is that BGT Brava is not longer than Autoflex. I certainly hit it longer than Autoflex. You were, for the most part, longer with it until we changed the head.
Yeah.
So, Dave, it's not one of those things where you can just go, like, Mike was significantly longer with BGT than Autoflex on the 9-degree head.
Yeah.
Then we flipped you into the 8-degree head, and then it flipped a little bit.
Yeah.
But it was all down to strike location.
That's right.
So
The strike was
it's
higher
not
with
really
autoflex.
something that you can make that assumption that this is not longer than. It will be in some cases for some players, and it won't be in some cases for other players, like anything else. It's why there's not one shaft on this wall. There's 110 driver shafts on this wall.
Yeah.
Because you just don't know what's going to work for everyone. All right. Brian Gaffney's asking, how does swing weight changes with driver move impact location? It depends how it influences the player, Brian. Obviously, when we're seeing changes, and especially a lack of strike awareness, if somebody's trying to put the middle of the club on the ball time and time again and can't do it, giving them a little bit more weight can obviously enhance their awareness and try to do that more. If we're finding that we are deflecting the shaft too much, we often, think of an autoflex scenario because that is an extreme scenario.
Yeah.
Why do people not like ping heads and autoflex
heavy.
shafts?
So
Heavy head, soft shaft, too much droop, too much torsion, too much deflection, bad combination. So it just depends how the head and shaft is interacting with one another, Brian, and obviously how the player's loading it, how they are deflecting the shaft as well.
That's kind of the swing weight. I've always felt like it was kind of like the raw nerve of your golf swing, or how you relate to golf club. It's that one point that the player can really
It's a good way to
get
describe
a connection to, right? And it can throw off the wrong swing weight can throw off a really good set of clubs if it's the wrong swing weight for the player.
Yeah, because people always have the argument over static weight and swing weight, but to me, swing weight is what you feel when you're total weight is what you feel when you're static. Swing weight is what you feel when you're dynamic, right? That's when you're actually putting the head towards the golf ball. That to me is when I'm aware of swing weight and that point. So I think that's a very good way to look at it, like the raw nerve. Scotty Yeaman.
Great
Awesome.
name.
Yeaman, what a boy.
Yeaman.
We need to play. We need to
You
play
ever met
golf for
him?
Yeaman.
Huh?
You've never met Scott?
This is a real human. You guys know
He's a
this guy?
real
He's one
human.
of our-
Well, I
one of our
wouldn't call him human, but he's
good
real.
buddies.
Scott Yeaman.
Yeah, man. Was thinking about an outdoor fit for wedges when available. Available now, Scott Yeaman. Will you have the full range of Callaway wedges to try and compare against Volkey? Yes and yes. You can do
It's a
both.
nice test.
Yeah.
I'm
Yes, sir.
pretty jacked up on our wedge line this year. I think they did a phenomenal job with
They have done, haven't they?
Yeah, they knocked it out of the park.
Shaping, grind options.
More grind options coming early next year. So people
Okay.
that are asking for some, what about this one? What about that one? Like they're going to be coming with some more, but we got to
Love that.
get the first piece of meat out there first.
Love that. Okay. Let's see. Mikey, see anything on your side?
Someone asked a question, would you rather shoot 10 under at Eagle's Nest or 45 over at Augusta? And I think we all have the same answer.
Easy. Give me 45 over at Augusta.
I'll take 100 over.
No problem. When you playing Augusta?
I have not. Never even.
When are you playing it?
Oh, when? I
When-
don't know.
when do
So
we
this
visualize it?
this is my thing. Is I can't really go there for work because they don't allow content creators or OEMs to do anything at the tournament. Like you can't even get in. So now it's just like, okay, I want to go there and play with my dad because the first time I play Augusta, I have to play with my father.
Right.
It's just so the stars have to align somehow. So if there's any
That's-
big
yeah.
corporate Coca-Cola people or AT&T are out there watching this, I need a foursome.
2 spots?
Just two, yeah. Well, I need a spot for my uncle Rob and my buddy Mark. So if they need a foursome at Augusta sometime a week or two before the Masters.
And if anyone thinks that finding that 4 ball might be a little bit difficult, Mike and I will just take a 2 ball.
Yeah,
That's fine.
We'll just take
anytime,
a 2.
Yeah.
To be honest with you,
We're
if you
a
find that tough, I'll just take a single, so
Same. Screw them.
sorry.
Me, myself, and I here, J-Dub.
My dad would
3 to 5 years.
If
It's
I
gonna
played
happen.
Augusta without my dad, he'd vaporize me.
Yeah.
That would be the end of it.
My dad would be
I've already done
upset,
enough to the
but
guy.
I'd buy him a box of Kleenex, so.
Okay. John is asking, why are ping wedges so expensive? Cleveland are much cheaper and just as good. What are your thoughts? Cleveland make a lovely wedge. They absolutely do. Ping make a lovely wedge as well. There's obviously costs associated with the manufacturing of both. There's margins that each company are comfortable with within their business structure. It is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Both are good wedges though.
Yeah, price, if you're going to eliminate the, I guess, PXG from 5 or 6 years ago, but price in relation to quality of product, they're all within $20 of each other, I think. You know, from like say 129 to 149, for example.
Yeah.
They're all good. Like, they're all good. It just depends on what, like Ian says, like what you got fit into, what you respond to the best. But every OEM out there makes very, very, very high quality product out there. And just because Ping's a couple bucks more expensive doesn't make it better or worse. That's just like Ian said, it's their marketing strategy.
Exactly. That's it. I mean, when it comes to costs with these things, technology costs, costs of
R&D.
finishes, all these things. I mean, it's all baked in there, isn't it? So
The shaft, the grip, the
Yep.
whole
Yep.
Marianne, it's all in there.
all in there. Okay, interesting one. We do chat about this a fair bit. Do PGA Tour players hit it further with fades or draws? For me, I get lower spin hitting fades. Interesting.
I mean, I can speak for what I see. I mean, it depends on the player and how they deliver the club. So John Rahm is a great example. Will hit a fade, his cut, which is a very low spin fade, as far further than he hits his draws because it stays in the air longer. So when he hits a draw, he has to tee it up about that high off the ground, by the way.
And I saw the thing. I think
Yeah,
you
and
posted about the Mo Norman thing.
He sets
has
it
to
back.
give the face more time for closure.
Right. So he has to buy himself basically half of a foot or, you know, an inch or two, whatever the metric is. But a lot of it at the tour level is how long can they keep the ball in the air. So some guys can't keep a draw in the air that long because it doesn't have as much spin, as much lift. So Xander can hit his draw further than his fades, but a guy like Rahm or Dustin Johnson, some of these other guys will hit the fade longer than the draw every time.
Yeah, I would say, as someone who, you know, mentions that they hit their fades further than their draws, you would be the exception, not the rule. Most people, because of the nature of delivering the club more from the inside, more on the way up with a more shut face, so you're going to get less dynamic loft, you're going to impart more pressure into the golf ball, your spin loft will be lower. Most people will hit the draw further than the fade for that reason. It's not... If you're a low spin player already, that might be the case. But the interesting thing is this player says that they get lower spin from hitting fades. That's the head scratcher, right? Because from a dynamic loft perspective, for the face to be open relative to the path to actually hit a fade, your loft has to be up.
Yeah.
So you have to be hitting more up when you hit a fade than when you hit a draw in order to shut the spin loft window down enough to create more pressure. So it's a bit of a interesting one.
It'd be interesting to see some of those numbers.
Yeah.
Well, some guys, I've always felt that rotational swingers, guys like Rahm, Sam Burns, Dustin Johnson, the guys that really rotate hard and left, seem to hit the fades, low spin fades.
Yeah.
And the guys that are Alexander's a combination of hands and rotation, so
Yeah.
he can hit the draws a certain way. So
Yeah.
it's interesting. It also depends on your delivery. So
It does. And you know, Ram and DJ are great examples of players who have the lead wrist and so much flexion. So for them, you know, it makes sense that they've got the face in such a strong position. The hard rotation, you know, they've already got the dynamic loft figured out by this. So they just have to rotate onto it and they apply so much pressure into the golf ball anyway. Whereas you get somebody, I mean, Xander's an interesting one because obviously he has quite a lot of flexion as well, but he is a bit more release in his swing as well. So different ways to do it. What do you guys think of this? Andrew's saying TSR is the third consecutive price increase from Titleist, but have seen no negative comments from reviewers regarding this.
Everything.
I mean, I don't think we can single out golf clubs when everything, lumber costs more right now, your milk costs more right now. I mean, everything costs more right now, does it not?
yeah, the pricing of anything, especially in the golf industry, it depends on it also depends on when that cost was, when they set the price, what the economy was looking like when they actually set the retail price, right? So, you know, what was gas worth? Like you said, lumber, all these different factors. So, you know, an extra $9 here, an extra $20 here, depends when they set the price, why they set the price. I mean, it's not, I can speak from Callaway's perspective, like when we're setting the suggested retail price, we're not sitting there just going, oh, we're going to get them this year, we're going to charge them extra $20. And literally there's 90 different things they consider, and then they find the happy medium between the two, and that's your retail price. So,
I mean, I think, Andrew, we're not, I definitely don't want it to seem like we're ignorant to the fact that you guys are continuously paying more for your product. That's not the case at all, and I would think it would be a great gesture at some point for one of the companies to go, 2023, no increase in price.
Right.
You know, I don't know if that's feasible with the way the world is at right now. With, you know, if we look at 2020, 2021, 2022, how have we you know, we've obviously been a shortage globally in getting product in the doors. So, you know, it was almost impossible getting shipping containers from Asia into North America in a timely fashion. So air freight became the way to do it. Air freight is a significant multiple more expensive than cargo shipping. So that cost is going to get passed on. It's, you know, that's the nature of business. It's not just going to be absorbed by the corporation.
no, at no point, and I could probably speak for like the last 5 or 10 years in the golf industry, even being at WRX, you notice this. Are they sitting around going, okay, we're going to crank, you know, we're going to really up the price because we want to make more money. Typically, it's to satisfy, to make sure the golfer is getting the technology that they desire, the goods that they desire, and then keep the margins pretty much the same. So there's not some rich guy in a back room, like, you know, scratching his head laughing because he charged an extra $5 or $10 for the driver.
Definitely.
Doesn't happen.
No. John's asking, am I going to the Masters in 2023? The plan is not in motion for that one just yet.
I would love to go to just the Masters, like get a group of like us and go to the Masters. That'd be
It would
fun.
be good.
Would you go to the Masters?
Yeah, I'd go.
Would you have a good attitude about it, or would
Yeah, I'd
you?
go. I mean, I've been to the best one, so
You guys did go. I remember that. You guys went to the Tiger Masters. That was just, couldn't
I know.
have drawn it up any better.
Yeah.
I'd go. Why not?
It was a special week.
We should just play it instead.
I know. Do we think TSR line is now the best driver for 2022?
I don't, but I work for Callaway. Okay, this is no secret. I think our Rogue ST driver this year, like I would go once again, go apples to apples with everybody, and I think we would perform very well, if not be the across the board best driver, just because of what I've seen out on tour and with players we tested. I've seen Titleist driver, the Ping driver, the TaylorMade driver. They're all fantastic. But that's just me, and I would say that if I was still working at WRX, it's just based on what I've seen. Our drivers tested the best of all of them. But the TSR is a nice looking driver,
Yeah, it's nice.
without a shadow of a doubt. But I like the Callaway one.
Dave, what is fair to say, and I think this is the only fair comparison, because what we're comparing is, again, it's a bit like what you said about the shafts. You know, are we saying that Brava's not longer than Autoflex? We can't say that. Just like we can't say that TSR is the best driver, because it depends who you're standing in front of. You know, you might have somebody that absolutely needs the technology of a Rogue ST. They might need the technology or forgiveness in a Ping. So as a general line, I think what's fair to say is I think it's by quite a bit the best line Titleist I've ever had. Right? I think there's the TSR4 is a phenomenal option with that new kind of lateral weighting. I think TSR3, they've just managed to keep something that was great, just left it alone. And TSR2 is a phenomenal
I heard that
upgrade.
one's kind of a monster, yeah.
It's
I've
great.
heard some good
really,
things about
really
that.
impressive. So compare it to Titleist rather than compare it to the field, and it's the best line of drivers Titleist has ever made. I can comfortably tell you that.
Yeah, it's funny how in the social media YouTube age, like the word best, like what's the best?
What's
This,
the
the
best?
best? There really isn't. There's so much good product out there.
If there was such a thing, we wouldn't be sitting here, or we would be sitting here, but we wouldn't be on a Tuesday to Saturday doing our job fitting. We'd have 5 or 6 shafts up there. We'd have a couple of heads in the drawer because they're the best.
Yeah, I mean, I think, what's the most unique or what's the newest idea
Yeah.
is an interesting way to look at it, but best, like, there's so much good stuff out there.
I say to people in the bay all the time, I'm not ever really, to be honest, I'm at a point where I don't really think about the brands. I just think about their playing characteristics. So when I see someone in front of me and they have a specific miss or a shot pattern or whatever it might be, I go, okay, these heads have these characteristics, and this one spins more, this one's faster, this one has more adjustability, this one has more movable weights. It's all just different options.
Yeah.
It's not a case of the best brand or company. It's just we just have tons of options.
Yeah.
I think that's a nice thing too. Why so many brands offer like 4 different models. You guys have 4 models, right? Max,
Yeah.
Max LS, Max D.
Yeah, we
Triple
have.
Diamond. I mean, that's a
Callaway's
lot of
got a
options.
club for anybody. I mean, from the 90 handicapper to John Rahman, they
Yeah.
have something for everybody.
Totally.
I think what we've done very well in the last 2 or 3 years is our golf ball matches up with the performance of our golf clubs, and now we have a golf ball that you could get into the Callaway ecosystem and have everything you need, which is cool. And there's only a couple companies in the planet that can say that,
Yeah.
that have top to bottom have you covered. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to name the other one, but we're one of them.
All right, Mikey, see anything?
Yeah, Keith is saying, Ian, as someone who's dabbled in both MMTs and now LA golf graphite iron shafts, how would you say they differ? Feel, release, etc.
To me, the LA Golf felt quite a bit better to me. The MMT was quite muted to me. I didn't feel an awful lot from the MMT. I really enjoy the LA Golf graphite shaft. I think it feels fantastic.
How many grams are those things?
Mine are 120s. They're really nice. I really enjoy them. Actually, I took them out of the weekend. I hit them again. I just really like them. Definitely a shaft that when I definitely settle on a head, which whenever that's going to be, I could definitely have a head to head between the DG 120 X100 and
the LA Golf. See, I've never tried their iron shafts. I've only tried a couple of driver shafts from LA Golf.
They're in my office, so you'll hit something.
Yeah, I'm interested.
They're nice. Does a hole-in-one on a 9-hole golf course count? I think so.
Of course.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Our good pal Matt, looking to complement my TC201 set with a faster 4-iron. Which irons with some tech have the thinnest sole? I think, so I built this into my set last year, Matt. It was the Apex Pro. Something with a little bit more tech in there, lovely thin sole, launched quite significantly higher. I think I was 3 to 4 miles an hour faster ball speed with the Apex Pro versus my Mura 4-iron. So, and I actually had, at the time, I had an MMT 105 TX in there as well.
Rogue ST Pro could be
Good little one as well.
because when you think about thinner sole, you're basically just saying bounce. Like you're trying to find something without a lot of bounce, in my opinion. So like Rogue ST Pro has a little bit thicker sole than the Apex Pro, but there's barely any bounce on those irons. So they'll get through the turf. Which I'm assuming that's why he's asking for something with a thin sole. That'll get through the turf really well too. Those are hot. Those ST Pros.
Big time.
Yeah.
You still have your mids in there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's a nice set of irons. The ST Pros with those mids. You just want to hit just high bombs all day.
Michael, one for you. How much of a difference will mid-size grips make on swing weight? Depends on the weight. of
Depends on
mid-size
the weight.
grip,
Yeah, yeah. And you could get a mid-size that weighs, the heaviest I've seen is like 70 grams.
Yeah.
So it can change a lot. I've seen 8+ points it's
Yeah.
changed at times. White grips are generally white mid-size by
2
body
Gs.
or swing weight.
Yeah.
They're heavy.
So they'll definitely affect it a lot.
Yeah. So, Chris, not so much about the mid-size, more about the weight.
I obviously can't say it. Look at this guy's name.
What a legend. What a legend. Let's go for a pint and hear how you get that name. Scott is saying, Scott's watched our videos on TR, Ventus TR and older Velocore. I play the Velocore Blue, the original. Can you tell me what I might see by moving to the TR if I play Blue? Have you got into TR yet?
I have.
I know we talked about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's if you're gonna go blue, because I've been a Ventus Blue player for a long time, and I've tried TR Blue in the same spec and driver and 3-wood. It knocked spin down a couple hundred RPMs for me. It's literally all it did. It still feels the same. It's nice and stable, but you're not gonna have like, in my opinion, you're not gonna have just like, oh my god reaction. This is so different.
Yeah.
If it's apples to apples, the same head, same tipping, everything.
Definitely. Think of it, Scott, just like, I mean, like they said, like it's kind of got a little bit of the Ventus black in there. I mean, so the TR version of all of them is just, it's just kind of stiffening them up a little bit, tightening them up a little bit, without making them feel boardy, stiff or harsh. So I think it should still feel good like a blue, but perform a bit more like a black from a dispersion standpoint. So like Johnny says, maybe a little bit less spin on it, that type of thing.
But that's where like out on tour, one of the reasons I get this question a lot is like, why does Ventus do so well? In my opinion, and what I've seen is center face contact. I mean, literally just take that shaft and stick it in any head. For whatever reason, the Ventus line, you put it in a ping head, Callaway head, tailor. I mean, everybody just hits it out of the middle of the face.
Yeah.
And that's their secret sauce.
Totally is.
Yeah.
Totally is. Let's see. Interesting one by Matthew. What does shaft torque do? What does shaft torque do, J-Dub?
To me, it's their head stabilizer. So if you're a player that, how do I best way to explain this? So for me, like I'm a pretty handsy player at the bottom. I want something stable. So something with really low torque, for me, the shaft will stay with me. It won't droop. It won't lag. It kind of stays with me the whole time. For some players that are a lot smoother, that need a little bit more kick at the bottom, they will like a little bit more torque because it makes the head, I guess, less stable. That's the easiest way I can explain it. You might have like a better, more intelligent way of explaining it, but that to me, torque has always been the part of the shaft that, or not the part of the shaft, the way a shaft sort of responds and stabilizes the face, depending on how you release it. That's how I've always understood it. So you tell me where I'm wrong.
No, I think, I don't think, I wouldn't certainly say you're wrong. The way I think I can probably explain it better in the way I use torque. Torque is one way of feeling the shaft. So torque is a rotational measured component of the shaft, the movement component. Then obviously we can deflect it in multiple axes as well. So for me, I would use torque to influence feel. So if I wanted the shaft to feel a certain way for you, but to perform another way for you, I would use torque as one variable for me to get what I want and give you what you want. So you use the Mitsubishi Kurakage XT as an example. Shaft that, a lot of guys, Rory played for a long time.
Fleetwood.
Was a little bit higher in torque, but was very, very stable with that full length titanium nickel in there. Very, very stable, but it had a slightly higher torque value, so you didn't get quite as much, so you still retained a lot of that feel while you didn't get the play in the shaft. Right? So that way of giving someone the feel, but taking away the deflection, the movement, and some of that variability.
So whenever I've been fit, or for example, like I had a driver. This is a good example. I had a driver that I got built at the Open Championship. One of my buddies on the truck built me one, and I had a shaft that was a little bit higher torque. And I took it on the golf course, and I was hitting everything thin, right? So the shaft was, I guess it would be drooping. Is that basically it's presenting the? I'm not getting any dynamic.
Right. So
dynamic
this way, so you've got lead and trail deflection going
go.
to target side, and then up and down would be.
So I called Kellen on the truck. I'm like, hey, I'm hitting this thing thin. He's like, because it's got too much torque. So it's like, why don't you get something with a little less torque, so it'll stabilize the head, and that'll basically buy the club face a little more time to square up. Obviously got one with lower torque. Ball starts coming out of the middle. So that's how my little baby brain absorbs torque when I think about it.
Love it. Mauro is coming to see us on Friday for his first driver fitting with TXG. Any advice on what I should be focused on during the fitting, distance, dispersion, launch, ball speed? Your fitter will take care of all of that. They'll look at all of those things. We're trying to make you play better golf. So we're not trying to play launch monitor golf where we just improve your numbers. This is all about taking a driver and getting you on a golf course and lowering your score. So whichever way we feel is the best way to attack that might be cutting out a specific miss. That might be getting you further down the fairway to hit shorter clubs into the green. Hopefully it's a combination of all of those things. That would be the ideal world. But it's about strokes gained. We have to gain strokes relative to the club we used to be in, relative to the one we're in now. That's what we focus on in the driver fit.
That's a good question.
Yeah, that's a good question. One for Johnny Boy here. If Callaway uses a supercomputer to do a zillion versions of a face to make the best driver, would you not expect them to outperform other companies by a significant margin who don't use them?
That's an interesting question. Maybe a lot of people use AI.
Yeah.
It's not, it's how they use AI and what they're using it for. So Callaway, we use it a lot to find forgiveness across the face. It's not to make them faster, per se. It's more or less to make parts of the face faster, where most people would mishit it. So I understand what you're saying. Like if we're using like a supercomputer, why can't we make like the Ironman version of a driver? It doesn't exist because at the same time, I still got to hand this driver a club to a human being, and they still got to hit it out of the right part of the face. So Callaway uses AI, which I think is the right place to use, is to find ways to mitigate the miss, and that's where the AI really comes into play. As far as making them faster and making them perfect faces, every company on the planet's using computers to make them optimize, but we're trying to optimize a miss.
The one thing, so Dave's asked 3 questions today. One about the Brava versus Autoflex. I forget what the second was, but I know it related to that as well. About TSR being the best, and then obviously this one, right? I think what just comes out to me with kind of Dave's kind of line of questioning and thinking is, there must be a way for us, for you to have the best face.
Yeah, he's looking for the VIP champagne room. Like this is the set of clubs.
It doesn't exist, and again, it's back to why we have a job, because we manage the human variable in live real time, and you can make a face that has all of these variations and have a specific wave pattern that gives you ball speed in areas and decreased spin and increased speed in certain areas. But what shaft is that paired with, and what is the player working on in their swing, and how consistent are golfers really to do the same thing every single time? There's just huge amounts of variables from the human element themselves. So it's just these incremental steps towards being better that every company takes, and it will continue to be that way for some time. We're nowhere near the end of it. I mean, I've talked to some of the OEMs about what they're planning doing in 6 to 10 years time, and hearing them talk about it blows your mind. I mean, you'll have heard those R&D conversations at Callaway, and it blows your mind, and you think, wow, I thought we were really getting close to achieving what's close to the holy grail of these clubs, and they have so much more than that they want to achieve.
Yeah, it's also the story. I mean, you got to remember, we are all human beings, and you sort of buy into a story too. Like, I work for Callaway, and I tell a story about Callaway. Part of buying a golf club and getting attached to a certain golf club is you like how the information was presented to you. I mean, it's no different than going to college and loving a professor, and some people hate him and some people love him, and it's part. The story is definitely part of the package when you're getting into golf clubs. So.
We had a customer last week. He was in town from Ireland. He basically had 3 driver sessions. And every time we kept going back to, or you and Ian and him kept going back to like that same combo that they found. So and it doesn't happen, but he tested everything. Like he hit every driver under the sun. He hit TSR, and it just kept going back to that one that, again, we don't fit a ton of it, but it just worked perfectly for him. And it's like, he's had a chance to test everything, so clearly there's not one best of everything. So it was impressive.
I don't want there ever to be a best of everything.
No.
Like I like the fact that it's sort of an arms race. Everybody's just pushing each other to make something good.
Totally. Chris is saying, do you have any insight for Mizuno 2023 Woods? Have the STZ 2020, love it. Their current STZ Wood is out of sale, so do you think there will be a new one? I know there'll be a new one. Yes, there will be. There has been a prototype that Keith Mitchell's been playing for a little while. So there's definitely some cool stuff coming from Mizuno down the line for call it springtime.
They're sneaky good wood makers, aren't they?
Well, the wood that Mikey was just talking about there was a Mizuno ST220G.
Really good.
I mean,
Yeah,
honestly,
they're sneaky.
they're like this thing was just
They're cursed because their irons are so
insane.
good.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. All right, let me get caught up here. Just gotta go right to the end.
I'm waiting for that Dave Fogel. What's the best putter?
Yeah.
Dave says TXG is my version of a VIP champagne room.
Attaboy.
Nice.
Attaboy.
Bottle service.
World of Wonders is the McDonald's around the corner after 2 a.m.
Has anyone done a study on what green speed allows the most people to make the highest percentage of putts?
It's got to be like 9 or 10, if I was going to guess. It's not slow.
It's not going to be slow. You're right. Yeah, I would say that'd be my most kind of comfortable 9 or 10. Enough speed that you're not scared about hitting it, too far past. Enough that you can still stroke it to get there. You're not having to really hit it.
Yeah.
I would say that, but I've not seen a study per se
No.
as to what allows.
I've seen the study on green speed and how much time it adds to a round.
Yeah.
So it's like the average is 10, and then as you incrementally go up to 11, it's like 18 minutes to that round.
Wow.
And stuff, which was pretty interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Look, it's a Monday after. Look at the questions.
It does come thick and
I
fast.
love it. How can you not love it?
I look intense.
Yeah, Mike, you look a little intense. Tell the people
I need some.
you're a little under the weather
I
today.
need some Dayquil.
Yeah, Mikey's a little under the weather.
Hopefully in 2 hours some Nyquil. See you on Tuesday.
Some whiskey.
No.
How much spin on average can you lower each setting? That's a good.
That's actually a really good question.
Well, it'd be a good video.
It would be a good video.
So let's start at like +2. Let's go +1. Let's go neutral. Let's go -1.
If you're only looking at spin on the TrackMan tiles
Love
or the
that.
Foresight tiles, that's an interesting experiment. But you also got to remember the player. If it's me, I'm going to react to loft in a different way. So the face is going to go like this, and I'm going to deliver it in a different way. It's going to affect the spin. So I mean, you'd have to have somebody that can swing the same the whole time without making any, adjustments. Because you do that you're going to put it back. If it looks like a lot of loft, you're going to play back in your stance and try to trap it. Your angle of attack is going to change.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's what any company who has done extensive work on Enzo or any motion capture where you've got high frame rate, where you can really see differences on what players do, have seen that things that add more variability to the scenario, such as a very soft shaft. You put a very good player in a very soft shaft, they will move the handle into a different position than if you gave them a very stiff shaft, right? Because they ultimately know how to manage the club face.
Right.
So it's not just we are not robots. We're not swing robots. Not iron by iron to the point where we can just go, okay, do the same thing again, and we can watch that head deflect or watch it not deflect. We are going to figure out how to make the ball go out the window that we want to see it, and we're going to deliver it appropriately to do so.
Yeah, like on tour, you have a player like Sam Burns that swings. The golf club sort of has to work for him, so I can give him the wrong golf club and he won't be able to find the face. Like I give John Rahm, like my son Sevy's 5-iron, and within 3 swings, he's hitting it just like he hits his normal 5-iron. Because his equipment sensitivity is so high that he can. Some players can adapt quickly, some can't at all, and that's just how a lot of it's how their brain works.
Totally.
Yeah.
But to try and get into an answer for you, Simming Golf, I would roughly say about 200 to 250 RPM would be my guess. That if we had a 9-degree set on +2, so playing 11, then we turned it down to 10, 9, and 8. I would think you'd probably come down by about 1,000 roughly between that 11 and between that 8.
Yeah, you'd be better off just getting a 12-degree driver, 10.5-degree driver, 9-degree driver, and 8-degree driver, and hitting them all in the square face angle, and then see where that gets you.
Totally. Let's see, I just saw one, I've actually seen this come in a few times from Aaron. Are Orca irons on the radar for review? Saw earlier in the year it was in the pipeline. Yeah, we did. We had talked to Alex earlier in the year, or even last year, I think it might have been. So yeah, we definitely are open to doing some testing of those. We just, amongst our many other products to review and things on our agenda, it's on the agenda, on the to-do list. But we're definitely down for it. Lane is asking the best way to experiment with swing weight, lead tape, question mark.
Probably.
Yeah.
It's the quickest and most painless
I
way to
think
do
so.
it. Yeah.
Cheapest way.
Yep.
And what do you say? So this is a question for you, Ian. Like, how will he know if he's doing it correctly? Like, if I would say center face contact. If you're hitting it out of the middle, that's kind of
Totally.
your first.
That's what the whole thing's all about.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about, solid contact. If we're getting better contact, we're reducing standard deviation on ball speed, launch, spin. We get that good feedback. We know exactly a good strike from a bad one. So yeah, I would agree with that
Just
wholeheartedly.
get a little scale and weigh your strips, because I know too many people, they just
Yeah.
put on 6-7 pieces of tape and then they're like, well, how much does this weigh?
That's me. When I was back
Get your gram scale out.
when I used to get irons back in the day, this is before I knew what I was doing, but every single time I get a brand new set of irons, I'd put a bunch of lead tape. I didn't even know why. They looked super cool if I had lead tape on them, so I'd put a pound of lead tape on each one, and I'd swing weights from D1 to E0.
But you had fun doing it.
I loved it.
Tons of fun.
Of
doing it.
course.
Just for kicks, thank you for the super chat. Ever had anyone go much lighter and possibly softer iron shafts for ease of golf, less harsh in the body, maybe 50 to 80 gram shaft? Does it work? Mick, again.
Yeah.
So a friend of ours who was just in from Ireland over the weekend, or last week to see us. Great player from Republic of Ireland, Tremor Golf Club. Mick is in some 80 gram steel fibre private reserve shafts and swings his 6 iron about 87 miles an hour.
Oh wow.
So he can
can
swing
move it,
it,
yeah.
but we cannot burden his swing with heavy shafts, or fatigue just kicks in so early in the round. His game just goes like that.
Yeah.
So he is such a good player and so finely tuned that he strikes it very, very nicely. But that for him is how he gets longevity out of his round.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you that. Have you ever considered going to like what are the performance sacrifices if you go from if you're an X shaft player, like you play Ventus Blues 6X, and all of a sudden you're like, what, I want an S. I just want to go to. What would be the trade-off for the feel? You're not having to swing as hard to get the same result, or how does that work? I've always wondered that. I should know, but I don't.
No, I mean I think it's down to how you deflect the shaft. So are you bringing in more deflection? Are you bringing in more variability? What is it doing to your timing? Is it harder for you to time that up?
Right.
Because everything around movement is, like we said, rotational on the torsional side, and on either axis. We're talking about movement. So is a 6X going to bring the deflection and rotation of the shaft into a point where you time it up really nicely?
Right.
And back to that point, does that help you match up strike? Or is something with a little bit more feel, like Mikey obviously was timing autoflex so
much
nicely
better,
last week.
Yeah.
For him that just kind of brought the right cadence into his delivery. So I think that's why every shaft up there, because one company's X, as is another company's stiff. Right. So we're always chopping and changing with those little nuances.
Such an interesting thing to consider, though, because it's the question is always, what's the trade-off? If I go to a stiff shaft for my driver, am I going to spin it too much? Am I going to launch it too high? But that's not necessarily true.
Generally is not the case. It absolutely is not.
Good to know.
Yeah.
See, I learned something every day, Mikey.
We all do.
That was for my game.
Do you see that? Yeah, I think that one there, Cole.
Cool.
Super chat.
Cole, thank you for the super chat, my friend. Much appreciated. Any chance we will see new super hybrids from Callaway? It's Cole's favourite club in the bag.
Wow.
Struggles with metals, but love the super hybrids. Didn't get along with the UW like I thought. Coffee for you all.
Thank you, Cole. The Super Hybrid was...
Maybe pizza for all.
Yeah, maybe pizza. The Super Hybrid was amazing. The Epic Super Hybrid. I believe, and I'm speculating myself, I haven't seen anything yet, but my assumption is that early next year we'll have some sort of a new Super Hybrid or something in that same line. Because Epic Super Hybrid came out last summer.
Yeah.
And from what I heard, it killed at the fitters. Like it did really well with you guys and Club Champion and True Spec and everywhere else.
Yeah.
It was a really popular club. So I hope they do. I'm like I have friends that I put in that club, and my dad's got 2 of them. And bummed you didn't like that the UW didn't work out the way you wanted it to. But that club's club's not for everybody.
Yeah, there is no such thing. Kevin, I saw has asked this a few times. Any fitters you recommend in Long Island? I've got a friend who needs to be fit but can't afford to make it to TXG. I mean, we've gotten to know the boys, the Club Champion boys in Manhattan, really well.
Good lads.
I think all the boys there are very, very good. All have really good reps and they're in a beautiful new store right in the centre of Manhattan. I don't know that there is a Club Champion store out on Long Island. I don't know any of the guys there personally. We haven't met them. We've only met the boys in New York City. I know the boys at Pete's Golf are very good.
Yeah.
Kirk O'Geary.
I know Kirk O'Geary.
Yeah. Those guys are excellent. Know their craft. They're tech nerds like us. They really know their stuff. So who else is out that way? I think between those 2 options, you'd
Those are
be
2 pretty good
in
options.
good shape.
Yeah.
All right. Steve has sent in a super chat, but not a question attached. So let me see if I can find it. Still, there you go. Thank you, Steve. Steve draws everything from wedge to 3-wood, but for some reason can't draw the driver. Swing speed is 120. Plays Iventus Blue 6X.
What hat is he? I wonder what...
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, isn't it? What are the variables we're talking about here? So, if you draw everything, we're assuming into out path, face closed, movement, body sequencing, kinematic sequence with the driver can change a little bit. The one variable that's obviously different is we have an elevated golf ball, and that can change as your ball position moves up. Your club path is less into out. Obviously, the more further back in the stance or ball position goes, the more path moves right for a right-handed golfer. Moving that ball position up may actually make your path and your swing direction less to the right, more to the left. And also strike pattern, you may be a predominant heel striker, which can also neutralise an into out path. So lots of things, Steve, at play, but I'd love to know a little bit more about who you are.
Yeah, it's also, the style of driver head you have. Is it 460 cc's with a longer blade length, or is it shorter? Is it like a triple diamond head, or is it a max head? I mean, there's a lot of variables that can come into play.
That must have been something you've learned a lot about being at Cali with all the different heads that are available. And
as a shorter, I call it blade length, but heel to toe, those are going to be a little bit easier to turn over because the head rotates more. The longer the head, the less it rotates. I mean, that's like one thing, and angle of attack changes from driver to 3-wood quite often. Rom's 2 or 3 down on a 3-wood and 3 or 4 up on a driver. So it's 7 degrees of difference there.
Definitely. Neil is asking, would we consider fitting a newbie golfer with a club like a ZX7? Thanks. Enjoying the Q&A. Thank you, Neil.
Just got my driver's license. I want a Porsche.
Oh yeah, I know.
I love it.
I know. I mean, they're not the most most difficult clubs in the world to hit ZX7s. I mean, they're a generous enough footprint. Are they for a newbie golfer? I think ZX5 would give you the same look, a very similar look at a dress, but give you more of the help you want with obviously being a 2-piece head rather than the 1-piece forging. Now you could maybe even combo them. The lofts are similar enough that you can combo those up really nicely. So, the party line in here. Go get fit and let the fitter, let the fitter help you decide, not for them to decide for you. Let them help you decide what's best for your game. Right, lads, 54 minutes, so let's take a couple more and then we'll be on our way. This has been good.
So
Questions
the
are
questions
thick
are
and fast,
amazing,
eh?
though. Yeah, I love the questions.
Alex is asking, Johnny, Callaway Rogue ST Max driver, yours.
Yep.
What's the best option to add weight to the head?
Well, there's you could add lead tape is one. Depends on how much weight you want to add. So you can add weight to the back of that driver if you go through a fitter, up to anywhere from 0 grams to, I think the gold plate is 7 grams, and there's another 7 gram weight you can add to the back. You can obviously do hot melt. If you take it into a club builder, they can put hot melt, on the crown, or they can put it near the face. There's different ways to do it. Just depends on what you're trying to achieve. That's really all that comes into play.
Totally. Justin from Winnipeg, Manitoba. Looking to fly into Get Fit by TXG. Should I fly in my clubs with me to get fit for the baseline? If loft and line adjustments are needed post-fit when the clubs come in, how is that done? Yeah, definitely bring your clubs with you, Justin. We'd love to baseline because ultimately we're not changing things that don't need to be changed. So, you might come in and say, Ian, I hit my driver 240, and we fit you to a driver that goes 245. And you're like, well, that's not that much further, but we don't really have a comparison to make. We don't know if ball speed has went up. We don't know what's happened launch and spin, because what you're seeing is what happens on the golf course, not what's happening in the test lab. So we would want you to fly in with your club so we can do that direct comparison to show you. And if loft and lie adjustments post-fit, how is that done? That's the more tricky one. In Winnipeg, I know it's St. Charles Golf Club.
Yeah.
Corey Cartouche. Is it Cartouche?
Yeah, something like that. I know the first name.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think
Corey.
of the last
I
name.
forget his last name. I think it's Cartouche. Great guy. He's actually here this week for the Quintic seminar. We would find somewhere locally for you to get loft and lies adjusted. Basically, is what we would do. So, if you couldn't send them to us and have us, look over them for you, we could certainly look into that for you. We'd love to see you. And obviously, with the Calgary location opening, it's very, very close by. Calgary opening very, very soon.
That's exciting.
Yes. Yeah, very excited about that. Okay, guys, final thoughts?
Super
Closing
excited about
thoughts.
all the questions you guys get. Like that's
Good, isn't it?
I love it. I
It is
love
good.
it.
It
Yeah,
is
it's
good.
so good. So yeah, that's all. I'm just grateful I got to sit and watch all these awesome questions come in. So I
Definitely.
can get sit next to you there.
Oh yeah. Hopefully you don't
Big
get
cheese.
the Scottish flu.
Hey, it's not the Scottish flu.
Yeah, it's the Scottish flu.
It's Canadian flu, because
Oh,
my
yeah.
little 2 Canadians
Yeah.
gave it to me.
Well, applause to the TXG community. You guys
Yeah.
are. This is quite a crowd. I'm impressed.
It is. They're unique in the online market. I can definitely say that. I don't think there's a better, more rabid, knowledge thirsty group online.
No, you don't see it very often. Like I'm doing an AMA on the Hackers Paradise forum tomorrow, and it's kind of the same thing. It's like
It's
you
great, isn't
post
it?
it, you're going an AMA, and like there's six pages of questions, and the questions are just like this, are just awesome. So I love it.
It is awesome. It is. Michael, final thoughts? What's going on in your world right now? You're prepping Calgary,
Prep in Calgary, Demo Matrix,
Pulpit.
Pulpit.
You don't have enough on.
No. Apparently, Dave's asked if I'm going to run the Calgary location in the winter. That's a big no.
No.
There's
Why
no.
not? Where's your brand loyalty?
Have you seen Calgary in August?
I
It's
have.
snowing already. No thanks. Vancouver, baby.
Michael will manage from a distance.
Pop Springs.
He's a Zoom manager.
Yeah, exactly. So just some updates on that. So guys, Pulpit is live. So anyone who is looking for the outdoor fit, we are likely to be open there for one more month.
Friday, Saturdays.
Yeah, Thursday, Friday, Saturdays out there. info@txg.ca to make a booking for there. Calgary is going to go live, let's just say let's just say tentatively,
First week of October.
we're hoping for first week of October. Between the first and second week of October, it's very close to coming together for us now, which is great. What else is going on in the
New demos,
TXG world?
stuff's all coming in.
Yeah, I mean,
new shafts.
look behind you. You can see a full lineup of brand new demos. All TR up there now. TR red, TR blue, TR black. We've got new Ryzen 2.0 in there. We've got
Diamanta's GT's coming soon.
yeah, we've got 1K orange, 1K white, which is new for this matrix up
LA
here.
Golf.
Did you know there's a 1K black
I do.
coming?
Yeah, I've hit it.
You hit it?
Yeah, we've hit it. Yeah.
It's very, very tip stiff.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
And they have a 1K blue, apparently. I've heard rumors, whispers of blue.
Have you hit Kylie Blue yet?
Yes. Yes, I've hit it.
I like Kylie Blue.
I like
a
it in
lot.
Fairy Woods.
Yeah.
It's got a really good feel. It's the closest thing to a blue board that I've hit that Mitsubishi's made.
So
in the last
yeah, so
10,
they've
15 years.
basically designed a whiteboard that feels like a blue board.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically
Good-
what
good
they've
way-
done
yeah.
with it. Yeah, so they basically went a little bit lower in the torque, trying to kind of get it to kind of play a little bit more whiteboard, but still
Has
not
that blue
quite.
feel.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying. I'm playing Kylie White right now.
Real good in
the
the driver.
Really nice.
Yeah, their
really
TX
good.
is really good in the driver.
Yeah, that's good. All right, enough about us, guys. We will see you all through the week. Lots of, I think, pretty much one coming every day at you this week. BGT wedge shafts tomorrow. We have some ball testing to do. We're going to be doing some stuff for Johnny on World of Wunder. Plug that for us, please.
Yeah, we're going to be doing, I have a Players Cup coming up in October, so we're going to do a little bag gapping thing with Ian on that one, and then we
Can't
have another
wait.
fun ROM one we're going to be doing today, which I'm pretty jacked up on.
Cannot wait.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, guys, we will be back here next Monday. Promise you that. Take care, Michael. Final thoughts?
Adios. Have a wonderful week.
Thanks,
Have a
Mikey.
wonderful week.
Thank you.